यावत् स्थास्यन्ति गिरयः सरितश्च महीतले तावत् रामायण कथा लोकेषु प्रचरिष्यति. As long as there are mountains and rivers on this earth, so long will be the story of Ramayana. Namaskar, friends. I am honored and privileged to present before you the 5th Sri Prasad Sen Memorial Lecture today. I have been his student and have received his affection and blessings. The subject of my presentation today is music in Valmiki's Ramayana. Sangeetavata sahityam saraswatya netradvayam. Music and literature are the two eyes of Saraswati. From time immemorial, literature and music have flourished in tandem, complementing each other. Both draw from the innermost recesses of human experience, communicating thought and feeling. One of the earliest instances of the synthesis of literature and music are the Vedic hymns, which were chanted in 3 Vedic accents, Udatta, Anudatta and Swarita, which later developed into the 7 notes of Indian music. In the medieval India, seers and saints adopted music as a medium of expression for their personal devotion as well as their deepest realizations of truth. The lyrical compositions of these saint poets were a new literary form bearing penetrative insights on life and society, and also reflected the wonderful lives of their authors. They became a timeless heritage of Indian music, literature and culture. It is thus a common feature of Indian tradition that great music coincided with great poetry. As the Adi Kavya, or the first poetic work in Laukika Sanskrit, Valmiki's Ramayana provides the earliest literary evidence on music after the Vedic era. It is not written in a ballad form. It is an epic. Within the narrative, Valmiki, the poet, is himself present as a protagonist, and it includes his role as an initiator to Lava and Kusha's musical rendition of Ramayana in the presence of ascetics, where he asks them to sing Ramayana using their technical knowledge of Stana and Muchana. The oral musical tradition of Ramayana thus belongs to the narrative itself. Imastantri sumadhura sthanam va purva darshanam murchayitva sumadhuram gayatam vigata jvaram. Valmiki further emphasizes the musicality of his own present work by qualifying the language as lyrical and dulcet, and recording that Lava and Kusha's musical offering is made with great absorption. In all these references, Valmiki's deliberate intent of creating a composition that can be read as well as sung is discerned. Finally, the outcome is a beautiful amalgamation of Pathya, that which is read, and Geya, that which is sung. Pathye Geye cha madhuram pramana istribhiranvitam jatibhir saptabhir yuktam tantrilaya samanvitam rasai shringar karuna hasya raudra bhayanakai viradi rasai yuktam kavyametadagayatam. Valmiki establishes direct references to music within the Ramayana narrative in different ways. It shows as being sung to the accompaniment of tantri, a string instrument, different characteristic features of Indian music, the physical nuances of vocal music, the compositional elements of classical music, even particular evaluations of musicians' abilities are designated. Being a practical art form, music is subjected to constant change and evolution. The systems of archiving or preserving music by techniques such as recording, notation system, or any other method were also unknown earlier. Therefore, to trace and reconstruct the music of Ramayana, which dates back to a few thousand years, one has to rely on the internal evidences available in the body of the literature. The present paper is therefore based on evidences available in the epic. Anushtup. Ramayana is composed in Anushtup meter, a new meter that is somewhat different from the Vedic Anushtup. The poets grieve on witnessing a bird lose its mate to the hunter's arrow, find expression as a song, created in Anushtup. The verse contains 4 lines, each of which has 8 equal syllables. Each charana has 8, which may be sung to the accompaniment of tantri, a string instrument. Padabaddho akshara samastantrilaya samanvitaha shokardasya pravritto me shloko bhavatu nanyatha. Great music or all great art is born of intense sensitivity or feeling and often results from deep pain or agony felt by the artist or the creator. This is evidenced in Ramayana. In the words of Sumitra Nandan Pant, Viyogi hoga pehla kavi, आह से उपजा होगा गान, उमड़कर आँखों से चुपचाप बही होगी कविता अनजान. In the words of Rabindranath Tagore, বেদনায় অন্তর করি বিদারিত, মুহূর্তে নিল যে জন্ম, পরিপূর্ণ বাণীর সঙ্গীত. A pain soul-rending bears in a moment music of a message complete. The role of new Anushtup of Ramayana is of great significance, as it has an inherent musical quality evident in its rhythm. Just as a rhythmic meter has been a formidable vehicle for poetry and thus literature, it has also been a vital medium for music as in song. A parallel may be drawn between the rhythm of the 8 syllables of Anushtup meter and the 8 cycle of 8 beats of Indian classical music. This suggests an inherent value to the cycle of 8 that facilitates rhythm. Sangeeta or music. The term Sangeeta is derived from Samyak Geetam, exceptional rendition of music. The root Gai means to sing and Samyak denotes fullness or perfection. Dating from its earliest use, the word has signified vocal music, instrumental music and dance. Sharangadeva in Sangeeta Ratnakara defines Sangeeta as a composite of vocal music, instrumental music and dance. Geetam, Vadyam Tatha Nrityam Trayam Sangeetam Uchyate. Valmiki introduced the 3 aspects of music in his literary work much before the definition of Sangeeta was established. In the narration, Valmiki deals with vocal, instrumental music and dance in the following manner. Vedic hymns are chanted as part of sacrifices and rituals. Women sing in auspicious occasions such as coronations, weddings and birth. Gandharva and Apsara celestial musicians sing and dance in auspicious occasions and also entertain royal guests. Royal women play musical instruments as a favorite pastime. Reverberant instruments such as Dundubhi, Shankha and others are played during the wars to inspire warriors. There are several references of orchestra and guilds of dancers and actors. Ballad singers such as Suta and Magadha sing eulogies of kings. Royal patronage is extended to musicians and dancers. Sangeeta in Ramayana. As a great literary work, Ramayana has touched the hearts of millions through ages. However, Valmiki's Ramayana records its own potency of music thus. Tat Shrutva Munaya Sarve Vashpa Pariya Kulekshana. Sung by Lava and Kusha, it moves its listeners to tears. In the narration, Lava and Kusha sing Ramayana before an august gathering of sages and saints with absolute absorption. They have sweet and melodious voice and sing with feeling. Sahitau madhuram raktam sampannam swara sampada. The sages are completely overwhelmed with emotion. The singing of Ramakatha gratifies their whole being, engulfing their bodies, minds and hearts. Lhadayat sarvagatrani manansi hridayani cha. They admire the sweetness of the melody as well as of the verses and shower praises and blessings for Lava and Kusha. Past events as narrated seem to come to life before their eyes through the power of the music. Chiranirvrittam apyedat pratyakshamiva darshitam. The sages acknowledge their scholarship of music and also appreciate the power of their music, which bestows long life, nourishes and sustains, and is pleasing to the listeners. Abhigeetam idam geetam sarva geetishu kovidau ayushyam pushti jananam sarva shruti manoharam. Ramayana is referred as Uttama Geeti Sampada, Geeta Bandha and Rama Geeta Manuttamam, the musically bound story of Rama in various sections of the epic, indicating its musical capacities. Ramayana is replete with direct and indirect references of music. In the narration, Lava and Kusha sing to the accompaniment of veena, a string instrument. The notes are sung using three sthana, namely heart, throat and forehead, a characteristic feature in the Hindustani system of vocal music. It is characterized by musical features such as pramana, jati, murchana, and is composed in the sama tala. The music of Lava and Kusha is according to the high standards of classical music, marga vidhana sampada. Lava and Kusha are regarded as Gandharva Tattvajño, experts in Gandharva Shastra or the theoretical aspects of music. Valmiki presents beautiful images of music in nature in the Kishkindha Kanda. The arrival of rainy season on the Malyavana mountain invokes a feeling of kinship with nature in Rama's mind. Bumblebees, peacocks, elephants and frogs join to create music. Rama finds comfort, solace in the beauty of nature and conveys it to Lakshmana. षट्पादतन्त्री मधुराभिधानम् षट्पादतन्त्री मधुराभिधानम् प्लवङ्गमोदीरित कण्ठतालम् आविष्कृतं मेघ मृदङ्गनादे वनेषु सङ्गीतमिव प्रवृत्तम् क्वचित् प्रनृत्तै क्वचिदुन्नदद्भिः क्वचिच्च वृक्षाग्र निषण्णकायै व्यालम्बभरणैर्मयूरे वनेषु सङ्गीतमिव संगीतमेव pravrittam. This description is not only a reflection of the poet's sensitivity to nature, but also points out to a significant aspect with reference to Sangeeta. Approximately 18 centuries before the formal definition of Sangeeta was established by Sharangadeva, Valmiki appears to have envisioned the term in the same manner. His sensitivity discovers Sangeeta even in nature, where bumblebees, frogs, peacocks, and even the lifeless clouds seem to participate in a concert and create music in this allegorical representation. In another description, Ravana addresses Sita as Triratna, or jewel among women, in an attempt to allure her to become his consort. He asks her to accept him and enjoy all earthly pleasures in addition to vocal music, musical instruments and dance. Geetam Nrityam cha Vadyam cha Labha Mam Prapya Maithili. In the entire narrative of Ramayana, Valmiki mentions together Geeta, Vadya and Nritya many times. Vedic chanting in Ramayana. Samaveda is regarded as the primal source of Indian music. According to Bharata, Geeta or vocal music was derived from Samaveda. Samabhyo Geetamevacha. Some of the earliest reference to Vedic rituals and their importance in the Laukika Sanskrit literature are recorded in Ramayana. The mention of Shikshakshara Samanvitai Mantrai in Balakanda points to the fact that the singers of Sama Mantra in Ramayana are well versed with the various aspects of Shiksha. Valmiki also mentions that all members participating in the Ashwamedha sacrifice are experts in the 6 Vedangas. For a proper training in the chanting of Vedic mantras, one must be conversant with Varna, Swara, Matra, Bala, Sama and Santana, the 6 aspects of Shiksha, which deals with the correct pronunciation of Vedic swaras. The Veda gives utmost importance to the pronunciation of the correct swara, as the meaning of a mantra changes with the change of a swara. Hence, the knowledge of Shiksha is important. Ramayana records that. The mention of various sacrifices, priests, important ascetics, Sama singers and their singing in accordance to the Vedic rules provides an overview of the socio-religious system of the Valmiki era. The Brahmanas are proficient in the Sama mantra and have an authority over the religious and social ceremonies. The Brahmanas leading the religious affairs of the state also receive royal patronage. However, the exact nature of Sama chanting of the epic era remains unknown to us, as the tradition of Vedic chanting has undergone obvious changes in the past 2 millennia. Technical tenets of music mentioned in Ramayana. Gandharva, Marga, Swara, Sthana, Murchana, Karana, Tala, Laya, etc. are some of the fundamental technical tenets of music mentioned in Ramayana. These references are extremely significant as they facilitate to trace the music of the epic era. Marga is derived from the root mrig, which means to search or explore. Marga also means path. It has a specific meaning with reference to music. Ancient treatises on music broadly classify music in 2 styles, Deshi and Marga. Deshi is the music type which is sung in different regions of the country according to the ruchi or tastes of its people. It is popular in nature and is sung by kings, women, children and cowherds. Its chief purpose is entertainment. It is not bound by rules and is thus exposed to changes. According to Sharangadeva, Marga is the music type that was explored and discovered by Brahma and other gods. after which scholar acharyas such as Bharata and others experimented and applied it in the presence of Lord Shankara. Marga has the ability to bestow abhyudaya or final consummation without an exception. The definition indicates that Marga music is a result of studied research and application and do not necessarily conform to the tastes or likings of the common people as in the case of Deshi. Marga in Ramayana. In the narration of Ramayana, Lava and Kusha's music follows the system of Marga. Tatastutau Ramavachah prachoditavagayatam Marga Vidhana Sampada. Here, Valmiki asserts that their music is in accordance to the stringent laws of Marga. It is clear from the first reaction of the audience that the purpose of their music is not mere entertainment. Sages are moved to tears as they listen to them. To stir the hearts of sages who have renounced worldly desires and pleasures with the power of music is obviously no small achievement. Commentators of Ramayana such as Ramavarman, Ramanuja and Madhava Yogi state that of the two prevalent musical types, Marga and Deshi, the one which is supported by commons is sung in Prakrit is Deshi, and that which is sung in Sanskrit and follows the researched and experimented path is termed as Marga. The reference of Marga in Ramayana rules out the possibility of Ramayana music being sung in the Deshi style. In the present day, unlike that point in time when sage Valmiki first brought Ramayana to being, Sri Rama and his story occupy an unrivaled space in the hearts, minds and cultures of diverse people in India and outside. This devotion now finds expression not only in Sanskrit and Marga style, but also in countless other languages and numerous local, vernacular, Deshi styles, not only in India, but also in many Southeast Asian countries. Gandharva. Though Gandharva is regarded as the most ancient treatise of Indian music, the earliest, most reliable and presently available source of history and evolution of ancient music in India is the Natya Shastra of Bharata of the 2nd century BC. Bharata regards Narada as the first professor of Gandharva Shastra. According to Dattila, Narada received the knowledge of Gandharva from Brahma and brought it down to the earth. Gandharva in Ramayana. Rama is regarded as the greatest knower of Gandharva on the earth. Gandharve cha bhuvisreshto babhuva bharatagrajaha. Lava and Kusha also have the exclusive knowledge of Gandharva and are adept in complex musical techniques of Stana and Muchana. Tau tu Gandharva tatvajñam Stana Muchana Govidau Bhratarau Swara Sampanna Gandharva Vivarupinam. Sthana is a technical term in Hindustani music which denotes the specific areas of voice production. Murchana denotes the ascending and descending order of the notes and the variety of beautiful musical phrases produced by them. Lava and Kusha are both skilled in Sthana and Murchana. Sthana. It is generally understood that all notes originate from the throat or the voice box, though there is little doubt that the voice box plays an important role in producing the notes, but from the vocalist's point of view, other areas such as heart, throat and head produce swaras. Scholars describe sthana as the area between the heart and the forehead. It has been experimented by musicians that the area between the heart and the forehead are the actual areas from where notes of the lower, middle and higher octaves are produced. Music as a practical art needs to be imparted directly by a guru to a disciple. The above mentioned sthana or the areas can be understood only through such training, and no written material can impart this. Thus, under the guidance and supervision of the guru, one has to constantly practice with deep introspection, which gradually leads him to discover for himself the exact area for the production of each swara. This is known as swara sadhana, a specific system of voice culture in Hindustani classical music. Sthana in Ramayana. The mention of sthana in Ramayana in the musical context indicates the prevalence of a sophisticated and well-developed process of voice culture in the era of Valmiki. Lava and Kusha are sthana murchana kovidau, literally knowers of sthana and murchana, which also indicates that they are not only aware of these concepts theoretically, but are also properly trained in the system of music, which bestows utmost importance to swara sadhana. Lava and Kusha grow up at the hermitage of sage Valmiki and learn to sing the entire Ramayana under his benevolent care and supervision. Since Valmiki does not mention any guru other than himself for Lava and Kusha, it is evident that they receive their musical training under the tutelage of the sage himself. They sing according to the training received, in which they produce the notes from the Tristhana, namely Hridaya, Kantha, Murdha, the heart, throat and forehead respectively. In the narration of Ramayana, the principle of sthana is applied to string instruments as well, which is supported by its mention in the context of Veena in the Uttarakanda. The sage initiates Lava and Kusha to sing Ramayana in the presence of Rama without any fear in sweet melodies with the accompaniment of tantri on which the sthana are already earmarked. Here, notes of all octaves seem to be earmarked on the tantri. This indicates the prevalence of a complex and sophisticated musical string instrument such as tantri in the era of Valmiki. Karana. Karana in Hindustani music refers to all hand and feet movements in dance, hand and finger movements in the playing of musical instruments, the specific activity of singing alapa. Alapa is a specific manner of elaborating and developing a raga with the help of swaras, in which the alphabets of the notes are not uttered but are sung using the syllable a. Alapa plays a significant role in classical music even today. In fact, the essence of raga music lies in the alapa. In ancient times, when alapa was sung in a specific rhythm but was not constrained by the time cycle of Tala, it was known as Vartani or Vartini. When Vartini was sung in a fast tempo, it was known as Karana. Karana in Ramayana. In the Uttarakanda of Ramayana, Karana is referred in the context of singing. Shatrughna hears strains of music as he enters the hermitage of Valmiki. The song is highlighted by the use of sthana and karana and is accompanied by tantri, which is played in a particular laya or tempo and set in the sama tala. In this context, the term karana denotes the activity of singing the alapa and also involves the tantri. It may be assumed that the music of Lava and Kusha involves certain improvisations and elaborations in all three octaves in the form of alapa, sung in a fast tempo but not set to any particular tala. Murchana. Murchana is one of the most important technical terms of Hindustani music. It is derived from the root murch, which means moha or illusion, fascination or enchantment. Murchana, according to Bharata, is the principle in music in which the notes are sung or played in a specific order or sequence. In Hindustani music, there are two basic sequences of notes called Aroha and Avaroha, the ascending order of 7 notes and their descending order. Bharata's definition of Murchana does not specify whether the notes should be in their ascent or descent to produce a Murchana. But Abhinavagupta explains this by asserting that by Kramayuktaha, in this particular shloka, both the ascending and descending order of notes are to be considered. Murchana in Ramayana. Lava and Kusha are Murchana Kovidau, knowers of Murchana. They play the veena and sing, highlighting the beautiful nuances of Murchana in their music. Valmiki initiates them to sing to the accompaniment of veena in Rama's presence at his Ashwamedha sacrifice, asking them specifically to show the various Murchana through its strings. It is evident here that Valmiki has groomed Lava and Kusha in the art and technique of music. In addition to having a sound theoretical knowledge, Lava and Kusha seem to be equally proficient in its application, as they are given full liberty by Valmiki to sing and play different phrases of notes produced by Murchana, which also enhance their performance. Jati. Jati is considered as the predecessor of the modern raga. Jati is defined in the Bharata Kosha as a specific assemblage of notes endowed with 10 characteristic features such as graha, ansha, nyasa, etc. The earliest reference to jati is found in the Valmiki Ramayana. The 10 characteristic features of jati, according to Bharata, are ansha, graha, tara, mandra, nyasa, apanyasa, alpatva, bahutva, shadava and auduvita, which correspond to the 10 features of the modern day raga and are therefore very significant. Jati in Ramayana. According to the narration, the music of Ramayana is based on the principle of jati. Lava and Kusha's melodious music is endowed with 3 pramana and 7 jati. The term jati is mentioned in the Uttarakanda also, but without any substantial input towards its development. Valmiki mentions its prevalence, yet chooses to remain silent about any details. Thus, the development of jati during Valmiki's era remains unknown. Laya and Tala. Laya and Tala are two fundamental components of Hindustani music. Laya is the natural or inherent rhythm constantly present in music. It is also known as pramana, which is derived from the root ma with the prefix pra added to it. Ma means to measure. In Hindustani music, pramana is understood as the measure of time, which creates a tala when it is bound by a cyclic framework. Tala is the time cycle of beats which binds or measures the rhythm within the framework of a cyclic movement. It acts as the foundation for vocal music, dance, and instrumental music. Kala. The practice of clapping the hands in a prescribed manner is termed as kriya in ancient Hindustani music. Sharangadeva classifies this specific hand activity as Nishabda Kriya and Sashabda Kriya. Nishabda Kriya, or the soundless clapping, is also known as Kala. The clapping that produces a sound is called Sashabda Kriya. Sharangadeva records 4 types of Kala or Nishabda Kriya. They are Nishkarma, Vikshepa, Avapa and Praveshaka. The 4 Sashabda Kriya are Dhruva, Shamya, Tala and Sannipata. Among them, Pata or the Sashabda Kriya, which is made by the right hand, is called Shamya, and that which is made by the left hand is called Tala. Laya, Tala, Kala, Shamya in Ramayana. Lava Kusha's entire rendition of Ramayana is based on a particular laya or rhythm. The music created at the hermitage of sage Bharadwaja is endowed with a specific rhythm called Sama. In the Uttarakanda, Shatrughna hears the story of Rama in the form of music, which is also based on Samatala. The singing pattern is endowed with 3 pramana or laya. 3 laya, Vilambita, Druta and Madhya. Valmiki does not mention any rhythm or percussion instrument accompanying the music of Lava and Kusha. Thus, the mention of Samatala indicates a possibility of the prevalence of a tala which is not played on any instrument but by both hands. In the Uttarakanda, Rama invites experts in Kala and Matra among several Puranic scholars, grammarians, musicians, hermits, and kings to listen to a performance by Lava and Kusha. Rama is shown to be keen that this music is heard, its quality assessed, and critically appreciated by knowledgeable scholars, musicians, and others. The mention of Kala, Pata, Matra as important components of Tala in Ramayana demonstrates the common practice of clapping or the use of hands and fingers to maintain the Tala and mark its stress points during this time. When members of an audience participate in this activity, it reflects their involvement in the performance and creates a bond between the musician and the listener. The presence of experts of Kala and Matra in the performance of Lava and Kusha definitely indicates to the prevalence of this practice during Valmiki's era. The practice of clapping in a systematic manner showing the different stress points of a tala is prevalent even today, especially among the Dhrupad singers of northern India and singers of Carnatic style of music in the south. The purpose of this practice is to enable the musician maintain a particular rhythm and its time cycle effortlessly. It is thus yet another instance of continuity of the tradition of Indian music, that the measures and tools of creation and appreciation of music, well recognized and prevailing at this period, are the standard practice even today. The mention of Pani Vadaka in Ayodhya Kanda indicates the presence of a certain group of singers who clap while singing. According to the commentators of Ramayana, the Pani Vadaka clap while singing songs in praise of extraordinary deeds and accomplishments of kings, princes, and their king. They are a part of the musician retinue of the king who sing in his praise at dawn break. Vadya, or musical instruments in Ramayana. The Sanskrit term for musical instruments is Vadya, derived from the root Vad, which means to produce sound. Scholar musicologists regard Vadya as an integral aspect of Hindustani music. Vadya is also known as Vaditra or Atodhya in ancient Sanskrit literature. The term Vaditra dates back to the era of Vedas and Upanishads. Musical instruments in our country may be thus traced to the Vedic age, some of which are still prevalent through evolved forms. Musical instruments in Ramayana. Musical instruments in Ramayana are referred as Vaditra. Various kinds of musical instruments are played as part of the wedding and coronation ceremonies of Rama and his brothers. Apsaras dance and Gandharvas sing to the accompaniment of instruments. The roads of Ayodhya reverberate with sounds of instruments on the day of coronation. The mention of Vaditra Sangha at the coronation ceremony suggests the presence of an orchestra. The term Sangha denotes an association or guild, indicating the prevalence of an association of instrumentalists who play in groups or guilds. A certain discipline is required to play in guilds, which appears to be present in the Vaditra Sangha of Ramayana. The mention of Gita Vaditra Nirghosha in the Kishkinda Kanda suggests of the musical activities among the Vanaras, where they sing and play percussion instruments such as mridanga and adambara. In the narration, the city of Ayodhya is described by Valmiki as a city of great eminence which reverberates constantly with the sounds of dundubhi, mridanga, panava and veena. Ravana is awakened in the mornings by Mangalavaditra or instrumental music considered as auspicious. Instruments such as shankha, bheri, turiya, dundubhi, etc. mostly play in unison during wars. Valmiki records evidence of wide use of vaditra in the royal household and among the common people of Ayodhya, Ravana's kingdom, and even among the Vanaras. The women at Ravana's personal quarters are shown as playing a variety of instruments such as veena, vipanchi, muraja, adambara, etc. It is shown as their favorite pastime. It may be inferred that a certain training or playing musical instruments must have been in place for the royal ladies, as the structurally complex string instruments mentioned in Ramayana could not have been played otherwise. I quote here a beautiful rhetoric by Ravana, remarkable in many aspects, where Ravana himself comes across as an ardent musician. The mention of veena, the instrument kona with which it is played, the vocal accompaniment, the tala, and even the stage on which it is going to be performed, almost all aspects of music, including instruments, vocals, and their performance, are traced in the following verse, uttered by Ravana. Raghava has no idea of my strength. My bow is my veena, which I play with the arrows which serve as the kona. The most formidable twang of my bow and the outcry of the distressed opponents produce great music. The sound produced by playing the naracha becomes the tala, and the great figure of enemies, which look like a flowing river, is the battlefield, which is also my maharangam or stage. I will immerse myself in it and play my veena in the great war. न जानाति पुरा वीर्यं मम युद्धे स राघव न जानाति पुरा वीर्यं मम युद्धे स राघव मम चापमयीं वीणां शरकोणै प्रवादितां मम चापमयीं वीणां शरकोणै प्रवादितां ज्या शब्दतुमुलां घोरां आर्तगीतमहास्वनां नाराजतालसनादां नदीमहितवाहिनीम् अवगाय महारङ्गम् वादयिष्याम्यहं रणे अवगाय महारङ्गम् वादयिष्यामहं रणे. Music is generally regarded as a means of entertainment and is also considered to soothe the mind. However, in this context, it does not fall under such category. It represents might and skill and also Ravana's knowledge thereof and his passion to fight back. In the present context, Ravana's music is able to produce Veera Rasa, that which invokes a feeling of power or strength and enthusiasm. The Valmiki Ramayana is perhaps the earliest literary document which refers to mridanga or muraja, which indicates that this instrument dates back before the Ramayana era. Mridanga is played either as an accompanying instrument or as part of an orchestra or a group of instruments in the Ramayana era and is not shown as a solo instrument. Mridanga is played along with bheri, panava, shankha and other instruments during the battle between the Vanara and the Rakshasa warriors in the Yuddha Kanda. As one of the most ancient musical instruments of India, mridanga has stood the test of time and still occupies a significant position among the percussion instruments of India. It has developed into one of the most sophisticated classical percussion instruments of South India, called mridangam, which is principally played with all styles of classical music and dance today. The modified versions of the mridanga, such as pakhavaj and khol, are well-known percussion instruments of the northern and eastern India respectively. In Ramayana, pataha appears to be a margi instrument as it is mentioned along with other classical instruments. Panava is mentioned with the instruments as favorite of Ravana's queens. Dindima, Adambara, Madduka and Chelika are some other instruments which are mentioned in this context. Valmiki does not reveal any detail about these instruments apart from the recording their prevalence. Many of these instruments are extinct today and are identified from the references found in ancient Sanskrit texts. Gandharva and Apsara in Ramayana. The Gandharva and Apsaras are handsome celestial beings who create divine music. They are an integral part of the cultural scenario of Ramayana. They are present on auspicious occasions of the royal household, such as birth, coronation, and marriage. They are known to entertain royal guests with their music, which qualify their music to be of high quality. They are skilled in playing the veena. The Apsaras even have dance guilds, evident from the term Apsara Sangha. It may be noted that no solo dancer is mentioned in Ramayana. The Gandharva and Apsara have a divine connotation in Indian tradition. Music created by great artists is often assigned the epithet divine even to this day. It will remain ever an issue of conjecture whether these celestial musicians and performers earned their sobriquet from an act of nature or by their unique ability. In either case, however, the presence and participation of Gandharva and Apsara in the musical scenario of Ramayana indicates the superior character of the experience created by their music. Professional musicians, Suta, Magadha, Bandin. Suta, Magadha and Bandin are the official singers of the royal households. They are mostly referred in plural, which shows that they sing in chorus. They eulogize the king and his royal lineage. The musicians are joined by Panivadakas who specialize in maintaining rhythm by clapping. Nata Nartaka Sangha, Vadhu Nataka Sangha. The cultural scenario of Ayodhya seems to be vibrant with singers, dancers, actors, dance troupes, acting troupes, and even actresses' guilds solely managed by women. There are several theatre groups in Ayodhya called Natanartaka Sangha and Vadhu Nataka Sangha. The mention of Vadhu Nataka Sangha points to the prevalence of theatre groups and dance troupes run by women. The term also suggests of special theatres or drama schools for women. Royal patronage. Music, dance and drama appears to form an integral part in the lives of people of Ayodhya. Artists perform before the public and therefore must maintain a particular standard in their respective art forms. For that, the guilds require to follow a fair amount of discipline and teamwork. Therefore, it is expected that they pursue them at a professional level, which also needs to be supported financially. In the Ayodhya Kanda, it is clearly evidenced in the following statement that they receive royal patronage. Na rajake janapade prarishta natanartakaha utsavascha samajascha vardhante rashtravardhanaha. Evidences show that both King Dasharatha and Prince Ram patronize the Suta, Magadha, Bandin, Panivadaka, Nata, Nartaka, Natanartaka Sangha and Vadhu Nataka Sangha of Ayodhya. As a mark of appreciation, Lava and Kusha are presented with 18,000 gold coins each when they sing before Ram. Unaware of the fact that Lava and Kusha are his own sons, Rama bestows the duo the huge sum of gold coins as he would to any other musician of such caliber. His regard for quality music and musicians with a high degree of excellence is evident here. Rama's gesture clearly illustrates his regard for music and musicians. Training in music. In spite of the wide practice of music and dance in the society, Valmiki does not offer any information about its training, either in any informal or formal manner. It appears Lava and Kusha are trained in music under sage Valmiki himself, as they are brought up by him and no other teacher or guru is mentioned in this context. The professional singers require training to maintain a quality of singing before the public, but Valmiki is silent in this context too. The women in Ramayana are proficient in playing a variety of complex musical instruments that require proper training, but there is no mention of training in the narration. Ramayana as a song. Ramayana created by Valmiki travels both as a story as well as song to the soul as well as the body of India. Ramayana as a ballad grows in popularity to date in the deep interiors of the most parts of the country. Although the music of Ramayana and the exact manner in which it was sung by Lava and Kusha are irretrievably lost to time, some important practical aspects of music may be assumed based on internal evidences. The performance of Ramayana is a living tradition not only in India but also in Southeast Asian countries. The ancient Ramayana of Valmiki has stood the test of time, branching out into a worthy world literature and a rich heritage that belongs to the people of the world. With the variety of music, instruments, dance and drama, and the respective languages, customs and costumes, the approximately 2,500 years old Ramayana bears testimony to the great cultural heritage of India. Thank you.